Well, the last visit to Sunrise was an unpleasant one for the Orange and Blue. Can they use the Game 7 loss in the Stanley Cup Final to fuel them back into the win column? We get you set for the Oilers of the Panthers right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show. Tom Gazzola live on location at Boston Pizza, Westgate, 170th Street and 90th Avenue, just across the street from West Edmonton Mall. We're going to have a great time here, as always. Hernan Salas and Zachary Kubish back at EST Global HQ. Big thank you to Reid Wilkins and Jay Milne for allowing us to cut into their show. The final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show coming up at the conclusion of the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Our game analyst tonight, Joaquin Gage. Really appreciate that. We almost had Devin Dubnyk because I know Gager was a little bit tied up today, but Nanso, he bailed on us.
That's okay. A goalie
His
for a
kids are
goalie.
playing hockey. Goalie for a goalie. And very apropos considering all the discussion around the Oilers and their netminders right now. Of course, get into the conversation. Text us 780-218-9999 if you're watching on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And get into the nasty chat. Jameson Olive, senior digital content manager for the Florida Panthers, will be stopping by in about 8 minutes time from Sunrise, and he'll give us the scoop on a Panthers team that is 35-21-3 on the season. The Oilers 34-20-4. It is game number 59 for the Orange and Blue. And as we roll into things, I should remind everyone, providers of the best diesel engine components around is GCL Diesel. From turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors, they are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Natso, you and Gager were doing EST afternoons earlier. What was the vibe from the nasty chat and the text line going into this one?
Yeah, not a lot of positivity right now with this team, and I mean it's understandable. They're 0-3 since the Four Nations tournament. So they haven't looked good, Tom. Like they've been awful. A little bit better in their last game, but not good enough. And another tough test. I mean, we had George Richards on, and he said the one thing about the Florida Panthers is they're gamers, man. They got that championship pedigree. They don't take many nights off, and they do have them. Every team does, but they're not a team that does it often. So another tough night. But yeah, a lot of negativity. A lot of people, even here at EST, Gager picked them to lose. I think a lot of people are picking them to lose tonight.
Have you talked to Reid lately?
I think they're going to win tonight. I truly do. I think they're going to win, and I know we're going to get to it. They're missing a big player, so is Florida, but I think the Oilers pull this one out tonight, Tom. I look at the regular season success they've had in Florida, and the Stanley Cup rematch. They're back there where their hearts were broken back in late June. I think that means something. So I'm expecting a better game from the Edmonton Oilers and a victory.
Ooh, I like that. I like the positivity, man. Like, listen, the Oilers, they haven't been playing good. They didn't play well all month long, to be honest with you, leading into the break for the Four Nations. Completely fair, and they barely scraped out wins. Was it Chicago and St. Louis? They had to go to overtime in those games. You're right. Like, and people are right. Like, it's concerning, but every team does hit a lull or a snag in the season. Vegas did. That's what allowed Edmonton to get back into the thick of things when it came to first overall in the Pacific Division. Now LA is a couple points back because the Oilers haven't been playing great, not picking up points, and the Kings have been playing better. And the Kings had a bit of a slide. They do happen, these slides. The best teams don't allow them to continue. And we'll see if the Oilers can dig themselves out of this. They did create this mess. There's nobody coming to help them right now. It's up to them to get the job done. So we'll see if they can spark their own game, because it's just lackluster lately. And if they're not on their toes against Florida, they're going to get beat bad like they have been all week long.
And someone points out, Gager also called it that Skinner would get pulled tonight.
Good thing we have Gager on as our game analyst tonight. All right. Do you want to throw out a question of the day or a question of the night?
I do. So big news this morning, Darnell Nurse, day-to-day. He will be out for this game. Outside of Ekholm, and I'll leave Bush in there, who needs to step up in Darnell Nurse's absence, Tommy? I know Gager said Emberson. I think I agree with him. I think Emberson He's been playing really good the last couple of months. He's really taken a step forward. His evolution is coming along nicely. So I think he's a guy you can depend on a little bit more tonight. But we want to hear from our Nasties on the Nasty Chat or on the inbox, 780-218-9999. But for you, Tom, who would be that player to step up for Darnell Nurse?
Emerson's good. I like his game. It's steadily improved, and he's still relatively young in his NHL career.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, okay, this is an all-encompassing answer. First of all, by committee, but then if there's going to be one guy to lean on to fill in for Darnell, because he is day-to-day officially, I would say Brett Kulak.
Oh, good one, yeah.
Yeah, so Brett Kulak, and then everybody pull up your work boots and get it done, because you're missing a guy that has been very good for you this season on the back end in Darnell Nurse. And quite frankly, like, Matthias Ekholm's had a tough stretch too.
He has.
McDavid's had a tough stretch. Ekholm has had a tough stretch. Ekholm's defense partner hasn't done a lot to help him either. So, yeah, it's by committee, and then Brett Kulak.
Well, you know what? It's funny because we talked about that today with Gage about Ekholm and how he's been a little off. And then I think we discussed that he's never going to come out and say it, but he must be a little frustrated too. His partner with blunders nonstop.
I would be.
Because you look at him with Team Sweden, he was an absolute rock there, right? So,
him and Hedman were excellent.
Yeah, so it might be a conspiracy theory that we're looking too much into it, but human nature, man. Like, it's not that he's gonna come out and talk about his partner, but deep down inside, he's probably frustrated.
I would be,
and not
especially
just with
when
him.
you play together for a year and a half. You go to a Stanley Cup final. You want to have trust in that guy. He's out there. You're supposed to be the best D pairing for the team. One guy's not doing he's not picking up his slack. Seriously, I would be frustrated at some point too, especially if you're sick, you're old, you haven't had a break.
And Tom, this isn't I kind of like I don't like that Nurse is out. Don't get me wrong, but
sure.
I like it on the flip side because, what if in the playoffs one of the big boys goes down? I want to see who steps up tonight. That's what I want to see. Who's going to pick up the slack, right?
Yeah, I know.
So it's a good test for some of these guys that want to be a regular in the lineup, right?
Well, speaking of the lineup, let's get to that before we bring in Jameson Olive. Hit us up about the question of the night. Who steps up for Darnell Nurse with him out day-to-day, apparently? Undisclosed injury, according to Chris Knobloch. As we get to starting lineups, brought to you by South Fort Chev. Reserve your 2025 Equinox, Traverse, and Trax now. They won't last long. They've also got the best discounts on 2025 Silverados, and they won't be beat. See dealer for details, www.southfortchev.com. All right, for the Oilers, a more familiar lineup tonight. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl with Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson. Adam Henrique with Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. And then Kasperi Kapanen looks like he's lining up at center. We'll see how many actual faceoffs he takes with Podkolzin and Perry. And then on defense, Ekholm with Bouchard. Stetcher with Emberson. Hernan, I don't know how I feel about that pairing. And then Kulak with Klingberg. We'll see how much of a rotation we get with Mark Stewart and how he ends up distributing the ice time and those pairs outside of Ekholm and Bouchard. Because the two righties and I don't know. Stetcher and Emerson, to me, when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, Darnell's going to play tonight. And then, 20 minutes later, Chris Knobloch goes and does his interviews, and he's like, yeah, he's out. So I'm like, oh, this is trouble. Matt Savoy comes out of the lineup tonight. As for the Panthers, Alexander Barkov with Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart. Sam Bennett between Mackie Samoskevich and Evan Rodriguez. Anton Lindell with Eetu Luostarinen and Jesper Boqvist. Thomas Nosek with AJ Greer and Jonah Gadjevich. On defense, Gustav Forsling paired up with Aaron Ekblad. Mikko Mikkola with Dmitry Kulikov, the former Oiler. And then Juvis Bolinskis with Nate Schmidt. There's your lineup.
Man, you
Panthers.
Can say those names good. I butchered
Well, he's a
them.
Latvian, right? And I'm saying it with congestion and a sore throat, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to say that name? I know the league has pronouncers. You go on the website, but it's always the guy you need the pronunciation of that they never have available. So you have to go
but
look
I'm
up
giving
their
you
highlights.
props. I'm giving you props.
Thank you.
You're knocking it out of the park.
Thank you. Well, It's a lot of fun. In goal tonight for the Oilers, 26-year-old Stu Skinner, 20-14-4 is his record. 284 GAA, 898 save percentage. There was a time where he was, around 250 GAA, above 900. That is not happening right now. He's got 2 shutouts on the year in the 39 games he's played. Skinner versus Florida, a 2-1 record lifetime, 373 goals against average, 888 save percentage in the 3 appearances versus the Panthers in the regular season, of course, in his career. And then at the other end of the rink, it is the 36-year-old Sergei Bobrovsky, 23-13-2 with a 265 GAA, 903 save percentage, 2 shutouts for Bobrovsky in 38 games this season. He's got a 12-6 record all-time versus Edmonton, 284 goals against average, 901 save percentage, and a shutout in 18 games versus the Oil over the course of his career. All right, that brings us to the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you'd like to see go away, book your consultation today at www.advantagesportsmed.ca. For the Oilers, Darnell Nurse, day-to-day, undisclosed. We won't see him tonight. Alec Regula, IR with a knee issue. Evander Kane, TIR, abdominal surgery and knee surgery. As for the Florida Panthers, no Matthew Tkachuk. That's a big hole for them. He is listed as day-to-day groin, not expected to play this weekend. All right. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. And you can get into the nasty chat question of the night. Who fills in for Darnell Nurse and steps up his game as the big man in orange and blue is not good to go? Nanso, any good texts? I haven't had a chance to take a peek.
Let me take a quick gander at the goods here. Oh, Jameson's good? Okay.
Jameson is good to go?
Yeah, he's good to go.
All right. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, of course, EptonSportsTalk.com's audio player, and Apple Music, Amazon Music, all those places. You can text us. And then if you're watching on YouTube, get into the nasty chat. He is the senior digital content manager for the Florida Panthers, keeping you up to date on the defending Stanley Cup champions. Jameson Olive joining us now from Sunrise. Jameson, welcome to the program. First of all, I know these two teams are very familiar with one another, and it would be lovely to see them in a rematch of the Cup final in June. But let's start with the big news for Florida. If you're an Oiler fan, you're going, oh, no Matthew Tkachuk, huh? Groin injury, huh? That's too bad. How severe is that injury, and how do the Panthers fill in the void that he leaves behind?
Well, first, guys, thanks for having me on. First time on the show. Really appreciate the invite. But when it comes to Matthew Tkachuk, that's still just TBD. It's all up in the air right now. It's kind of day by day, but not day to day. The news is day to day, but his health is not. All we have right now, as Paul Maurice said, it's not near term, but he's not ready to call it long term yet. But no, they're just waiting until they know exactly what it is. They don't want to get a situation where they say day to day and it becomes something bigger, or you say week to week, but then maybe it isn't. He's getting a lot of tests done. He's getting a lot of different doctors' opinions to look at the injury. And then once they know exactly what it is and exactly how long it's going to take, they're going to let the world know. And that's when we can kind of talk about it after that and game plan, because this isn't going to be a thing that becomes day to day and then drags out. It's a thing where, they want to immediately say it's going to be this long. It's going to take this many weeks. This is the exact injury. And then we'll go from there. But you mentioned who's going to step up. And I think there's few teams in the NHL more equipped to miss a star player than the Florida Panthers are. I mean, yes, no Matthew Tkachuk, but going down the list, you still got Barkov, you still got Reinhart, you still got Verhaeghe, you still got Anton Lundell, you still got Sam Bennett. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So there's enough guys on this team to step up and fill that void. They've done it in the past when they've...
Oh, we lost him there.
Did we lose Jameson?
Yeah. Keep
We'll
working on
back
getting
there.
him back here. So
he's going down the list, and I'm just like, yeah, that guy's good. Yeah, that guy's good. That guy's good. They have a lot of guys they can fill in for Matthew Tkachuk. So
they're a
there you go.
machine.
Jameson.
Yeah, they won't miss a beat, man. I mean, you missed what he brings, but they're still well suited. And like George Richards told us, like, this team doesn't mess around, man. They don't take many nights off, and despite who's in the lineup. So I mean, it's not just a gimme game for the Oilers because Tkachuk. So we do have Jameson back, Tom.
All right, all you, Hernan.
Jameson, welcome back. This is Hernan here. So, what have been some of the key characteristics of the defending Cup champs on the ice this season, despite some of the roster turnover? Jameson there. Nope.
We don't have him?
Having some connection issues there, so we'll continue to work on that, Tom. I'll give you the thumbs up when he's good to go.
Okay, sounds good. Text us 780-218-9999. The Coob working on getting Jameson back on with us. Bad Billy texting in and says, hey, Tommy and Hernan, all the D have to step up seriously with Nurse out. None of them have been really good. Picking one is Kulak. What the heck is with sitting out Savoy and putting Arvidsson in? My goodness, says Bad Billy. I wonder, Bad Billy, like, if they're just at the point where it's like, okay, to the veterans, wake up. Start playing better. Like, there's no more toying and skirting around this. Like, you need to be better. I don't know if they have to have meetings with these guys and conversations. That's my interpretation of it, that they want these guys to just wake up and start to perform the way they're expected to. So that's my interpretation of Savoy. And then I heard Chris Knobloch talking about it too, just the type of player that they're looking for in tonight's game. We talk about big boy hockey. And Savoy is just a young guy. Don't get me wrong. He's held up very well in the games that he has played. But I think, we go to the veteran experience in that situation.
And you know what? With this lineup, it's like, okay, like these are the lines we're comfortable with. This is what everybody wants, right? Nuge, Hyman, McDavid, Arvidsson, Skinner, Draisaitl. You got that third line that was excellent last year in the playoffs. So there's no more excuses, Tom.
No.
And what I was telling Joaquin earlier, too, was stick with these lines throughout the game. I don't care if you're down 2. I don't care if you're up 2. I don't care if you're tied. Just let them play through it. Let them play through it. And especially with Tkachuk out, Draisaitl, McDavid on separate lines. Sure, Barkov's going to get McDavid probably. But then, Draisaitl won't have that. Well, he'll have a tough matchup, but not as tough as going up against Barkov. So I just want to see him stick to the lines for the whole 60 minutes here. And then just, let them run, let them figure it out.
Yeah. Noble concept. I have no thought in my mind tells me that they're going to do it. Like, I just... Knobloch switches it up so fast. Like, even the other night in Tampa, like, second period, they're down a goal 29 seconds into the second. He goes to the nuclear option, and they didn't have it that night. So,
no.
Super frustrating, but it would be nice to see them roll with their normal lines. All right, we're going to get Jameson back. Zach is working on it. We're live on location at Boston Pizza Westgate. Joaquin Gage is standing by, and Hernan Salas back at EST Global HQ. Nanso, Matt Hyman saying, everyone just needs to play responsibly. Yeah, that's another, simple but noble concept that this team hasn't really abided by. Bad in the neutral zone, bad in the defensive zone, soft passes, soft plays, bad off the rush defending, and it's burnt them so bad. Can't get the save when you need it.
And McDavid today in his pregame was the first thing was like, what do they need to do? Puck management. Like he's and that's correct because the turnovers have just cost his team too much, not only in their zone, in the neutral zone, in the offensive zone, that always lead to goals against this team. So there's a lot of players I'll be watching tonight. I want to see Jeff Skinner on that second line. I'll be looking at Stuart Skinner again, the body language. Defensively, I'm looking at Klimberg. I mean, was he a healthy scratch just to be a healthy scratch, Tom? Was he feeling a little bit sore? Was the hip acting out? Right? So we don't know these things. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to see a lot of these guys and what kind of effort we're going to see from the Edmonton Oilers because that hasn't been good enough. And like you said earlier, every team goes through lulls, but you can't be this bad for 4 straight games, Tom.
No. It has been a pain in the butt and thorn in the side to the Oilers faithful. And we'll see if the Florida Panthers are what the doctor ordered, but don't like their chances, especially if they play somewhat similar to how they have the last 4 games. I'll even lump in that Colorado game before the break. Teef texting in saying, I'll tell you who needs to step up is Darnell Nurse, or in Darnell Nurse's place is Evan Bouchard. He needs to stop being a lost puppy, get his cannon of a shot going, stop being a turnover machine. If he can't do that, trade his butt, says Teef. Teef getting frustrated, among many people getting frustrated with Evan Bouchard. All right, Nanso, how are we doing over there? Nasty Chat seems to be going okay. Evil Twin says, I have one here. Oilers unfortunately have very little grit or toughness. That comes in from Evil Twin.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the most physical team. And I know last game we were talking about too, it was just because when they out hit, they usually lose. But Matt Cassian made a good point where it's like because they don't have the puck, right? They're always chasing. So yeah, we'll wait and see here. But still working on Jameson here. I know Gager's got to go at 4:20. Soon. So Tommy,
should we bring Gager in?
Let's bring Gager in, and then
yeah.
We might have to bail on Jameson. You make the call, Tommy.
Okay, well, if Zach's listening, let's get Joaquin in here for Game Changers, and then we'll try to squeeze Jameson in. Zach, is he listening?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I got him.
Okay.
I got him.
All right, fire up Joaquin. Let's get to Game Changers here. Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, obviously, consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current one. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, Gager, thank you for hopping on tonight. Really appreciate it. In for Cass, and let's get right into Game Changers here. Number one for you going into this game against the Florida Panthers, going old school.
Good to see you guys. First of all, thanks for having me on. Been a long time. I think it's about 37 minutes by my count, but
something like that.
Yeah. So going old school. What did I mean by this? What I meant was that now we're seeing some lines put together that we're more. I think Oiler fans are more familiar with. Right? You're seeing Nugent Hopkins back with Hyman. You're seeing the Janmark line, that third line that was so effective in the playoffs last year.
Hey,
so
Dusty.
Kind of, I think that's encouraging. I think this is a coach saying, and I heard just Reid and Jay talk about it right before this, is like, okay, guys, I've mixed it up. I've tried to put something together that I think could possibly work with nothing happening. Now it's up to you. Now the ball's in your court. Let's. I guess you can't read and they said something about digging yourself out of a hole, and you can't really dig, but you can get out of a hole with a shovel if you build stairs, and that's what it's going to take.
Of course, you would have an answer to that. All right, that was point number one of Game Changers with Joaquin Gage, going old school, and then somehow ends up talking about building yourself stairs with a shovel. Brilliant, as always, Gager. Dusty Nielsen just showed up here at Boston Pizza Westgate, by the way. The big man is here. All right, number two, Gager, exercise the demons / create nightmares. Oh, of course you go there with that.
Well, how do you not, Tommy? This was I was driving home, and it was kind of the same, nice weather. All of a sudden, a game, Panthers, Oilers. How do you not go back to a few months ago where they were in the Stanley Cup, or almost a year ago, I guess, to the Stanley Cup final, and how excited the whole city was, and that just it ended in such heartbreak. Now, we were talking about it, I think, on all the shows today at EST. Just what does that mean going into that building again, right? You're going into Miami, the same hotel, taking the same path on the bus. It's got to stir up some old memories. I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to exercise those demons, right? This is where you were so close to immortality, and it was taken from you. I'd love to hear, because we had George Richards from Florida Hockey Now on our show today, Tommy, and he said Nabla took the team for morning skate at the at the rink, and no one has pregame skates there. They're usually at the practice facility, right? So I think this was Coach K kind of look. It's that as we all know, Gene Hackman passed away today. One of the great movies he was in was Hoosiers. You saw his team get all worried when they got to the final, and he had to go out with the tape measure and measured the height of the basket, and he said, "Hey, it's the same dimensions at home, right?" And kind of, I don't know, maybe Nabla watched Hoosiers on the flight home and thought, or the way down to Miami, and maybe came up with that. But this is a big opportunity for them. Or on the flip side of that, it's not going to be easy against this Florida team, and you don't want to add anything and have more nightmares going to Carolina in a few days.
Hey, it's interesting too, and I'm glad you brought up like having the skate at the arena. Every guy that they talked to about being back there since Game 7 completely downplayed it. But Gage, like, there has to be some kind of like feel to it, right? Like that's, like you said, that's deliberate. But even Knobloch made a joke about it. He's like, "Oh, this is the place where I coached one of my first games in the NHL." Is that what you mean? Like, do you think that is a legitimate thing that can, subconsciously spark this group?
Yeah, I think it can. Like that bitter taste in their mouth, what they all went through together. For the most part, there were some guys obviously not with the team at that point. I don't know how you don't think about it, Tommy. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. It was one of the biggest moments of all these guys' young lives up to that point, right? There's got to be a sour taste. I mean, there's numerous rinks that I can go into around the whole world, Tommy, and I'll be sucking my thumb in the fetal position in the corner because I had a bad experience there. So yeah, you can't tell me that this doesn't affect the Oilers in some manner, right? But saying that, like, there's, I talked about it too. Like, there's some rinks that you just feel good in. You just have. There's something about it, the where you sit. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the pregame meal, whatever it is, you just find a way to play really well there.
Yeah.
And I mentioned about Evan Bouchard, been struggling lately, but the last few games he played in that rink were spectacular. So maybe that's something that he gets to throw a spark on that fire to hopefully light him up and get him back to close to where he was at playoff time last year.
And so anything to follow up?
No, I found it interesting that George Richards brought that up, that they practice at the rink where most teams don't, and it was just kind of Knobloch saying, "Okay, get all the feels out now, get into the dressing room, hang up your stuff, let's go out for a quick skate, and then come game time, it's game time." Do you know what I mean? So I found that interesting. I didn't know that. I thought I didn't even know they practiced somewhere else. Tom, you probably knew that, but interesting little tidbit there from George Richards. So we'll see what the guys could bring. And like Gager said, like, it's got to mean something. Like they ripped your heart out in Game 7 there, and you're gonna. Even though it's like it's a regular season game, you still want to go in there and win. Just feel good about it.
Yeah. They do have a practice facility, a new one. Apparently, it's super nice. But everything in Florida it's a long drive. It's a pain in the ass. That's for sure. Like, if you stay in Fort Lauderdale because you have some time there, it's like a 45-minute drive to Sunrise to the rink. If you want to stay in Miami or Miami Beach, it's a 45-minute to the rink. If you want to go like from the practice rink to the main rink, it's a drive. So it's all spread out. It's a pain in the ass, and I kind of respect him for doing that and making the team practice at Amerant Bank Arena. So we'll see if the Oilers can exercise the demons and create some nightmares. It is Game Changers with our game analyst, Joaquin Gage. Point number 1 was going old school. Point number 2 was exercise the demons / create nightmares. Number 3, Gager, need more nurses.
Well, just like our province, Tommy, we need nurses, and we're out one, but we need someone to replace those types of minutes. This is when someone comes out of the lineup, especially a guy like Darnell Nurse, who's having a really good season in my eyes. One of the pillars on the back end. Someone's going to need to manage those minutes that you're going to miss. And with guys that come out of the lineup, there's obviously opportunity. So looking at Emberson, this is a few players that I will really have my eye on tonight. One is Emberson, obviously, to see how he deals with this Florida Panthers pressure and forecheck and physicality. And I want to see quicker decisions from all defensemen on the back end. I think they've lacked in that respect. Start playing a little bit of chess and 3 moves ahead and just not checkers, right? Quick puck movements doesn't always have to be the sexy play, right? The simple play might be the one that's you're best suited for in that area, because on the back end you're going. That's gotta be the strength of the Edmonton Oilers tonight in Florida. Like this is where they're going to have to carry the load, I think, for the most of the part, and make sure that they're getting the puck in a quick and timely fashion to the forwards so they can start taking the puck the other way.
Hernan, what do you say?
Yeah, no, I mean, Joaquin, these are you brought the heat on the game changers on short notice, but I mean, I can't disagree with that. It's need more nurses, like you said. It's gonna be huge to see what they do, and yeah, I'm with you guys, man.
Am I getting in trouble for having these at this show and not on ours again? Turnin always gives me crap about
why.
Up with stuff.
This is also
because our show's done, Gager. It's before the show that I get upset when you bring.
You'll yell at me. You'll yell at me tomorrow because we're like an old couple now, Tommy. It's hilarious.
Teamwork makes the dream work, especially with you two. Like, I feel like I'm a part of EST Afternoons right now with you two, and I'm just the guest over here. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, it's all good. Okay, Joaquin. I know there's Oilers fans that would like an upgrade in goal. If you heard Frank Saravalli with Stan Bowman, it didn't sound like he was interested in doing that. I followed up yesterday with some people. They were very much in line with what Stan had said, and they said, don't expect anything. Stu is Stu. Just got to let him work it out. For these goalies, like, I know I generally like to point out how bad the defense and the 5 guys in front of them have played, but there have been moments like these guys got shelled over the weekend. Stu let in that second goal that was just bad. You made the joke, the alibi joke, in our text chat, and like, what can he do? What is a little mind trick, like a Jedi goalie mind trick that might work for a guy like Stuart Skinner, and then to a lesser extent even Calvin Pickard?
I mean, it's kind of old school thinking, Tommy, and I know it's a cliche, and everyone's heard it a 1,000 times before, but you create little increments of trying to build success, little building blocks, not like that steps analogy that I made, right? And it's as easy as, okay, let's stop the first puck of the game, right? Let's make sure that I don't allow a goal in that first 5 minutes. And you set that as a goal. And then once that's done, you move on to the second part. Like, you can't look at the whole thing when things are going wrong for you, especially as a goaltender, because when it sucks, it can become crippling and overwhelming. So simplifying from your game to the way you perceive the game, to your preparation, all you're doing, if I'm Stuart Skinner tonight, I'm just worried about that first 5 minutes. Not worried, but eagerly have anticipating a very good 5 minutes, and then I'm moving on to the next 5 minutes. And once I get done that, end of the first, I want to be tied or with the lead, as a long-term goal, and then you just keep building from there. That's what you have to do from a goaltender standpoint. I think mostly is just simplify.
How much does allowing a goal early or on the first, let's say, 5 or 6 shots wear on a guy's mind, do you think?
Well, it depends on how much you do it. And okay, so Naba said the team's fragile, right? And all hockey players want to make a difference. If you can I mean, normally in normal circumstances, the mantra in the room is weather the storm when you're on the road the first 10 minutes. Usually you get a bit of a push from the home team, right? So you weather that storm. If you can get one early, perfect. Take the crowd out of it. You know, you've turned the tide. But and this is the way goalies think. I don't, you know, it's a weird. We're all weird in a way, but when we go into a visiting team, when we get to the pro level, we all know that first 10 minutes, you might see some stuff. You know, you're gonna, and we take it upon ourselves to weather the storm, keep our team in it, give them a chance to win. Jesus, look at that guy!
Look at that guy!
Holy smokes!
Good to see him.
Thank
you, Dusty.
I can't wait for church. It's. You just, again, I'm just going back to the increments of time during a game, right? But if you're Stuart Skinner, you want to give your team the confidence that they don't have to change their game thinking, oh my gosh, we get a next shot on here, it might go in, right? You want to build that confidence that if there is a mistake, if I do something and it results in a good scoring chance, I know that 74 is back there and it'll probably cover for me.
And that's what was
go ahead, Joaquin.
Sorry, that was in Tampa, the Oilers got the first goal. They were feeling good. They were playing well for the first 5, and then a stupid turnover, a costly turnover, killed all of that. Within what? It was a minute and a half after the Oilers scored the first goal. Yeah. That can happen, and sure, it starts with Kasperi Kapanen with a horrible turnover. No one could come back, but then it also leads to Stuart Skinner needing to make that save, right? So it's just a domino effect when you make bad plays in the neutral zone. So what you said there, Gage, is get the first goal, but don't get sloppy right away after that goal, because that's what happened against Tampa Bay Lightning.
Don't give them gifts, you know? Christmas is over, right? Like make them earn it. Make the Florida Panthers earn it. Make them earn scoring chances. Make them earn shots on net, right? We talked about it, I think, a couple days ago, Nan. So just the mindset I think that the Edmonton Oilers have to have is they don't even see what jersey they're playing against, right? No. They have to look inward to their own game and get it to a point that's going to make them successful over the next few months, right? It shouldn't matter. You shouldn't even have to worry about what that other team is doing, because you are so zeroed in on how you play that you know that level of execution, hard work, and skill is going to provide you with success on more nights than not, and it's nowhere close to where it needs to be right now.
Yeah. Well said, Gager. Nanso also mentioned that you predicted Stu's getting pulled tonight. Is that true?
Yes, that is true, but not on a fault of his own. I just think that I don't. This is bad, I guess. I don't think the Oilers have hit rock bottom. I think rock bottom is tonight. Ooh. And I don't think that Stuart Skinner gets pulled because of bad play. I think he makes saves, but they just get overwhelmed by this Florida Panthers team, and this is more of Coach K trying to spark the team with changing netminders. So unfortunately, I think it's another one in the L column for the Oilers. But hold hope, Oilers fans. This is it's always darkest before the dawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said again. The Oilers are ripe for the picking for the Florida Panthers, unfortunately. And you and Reid have actually predicted rock bottom. I think Reid was saying by the time they get to Carolina, it's going to be a blow up. But I'll stay optimistic. I say for whatever, this team is so Jekyll and Hyde at times. You think you know them, and then they totally pull a 180 and do something that you didn't expect them to do. And maybe tonight's the night, but it certainly isn't leaning that way with how they're playing. Gager, you were fantastic as always. I really, really, really appreciate you stepping in for Cass at the last minute and for Devin Dubnyk. And there is Joaquin Gage. Bye, Joaquin. I thought you were leaving.
No. I guess that was I don't know what that was, Tommy. I think that was actually Oiler fans unplugging me outside and saying, "Don't do this anymore."
Don't let that guy back on. Great stuff, Gager. I will see you on the post-game show.
Can't wait. See you, boys.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, that is Joaquin Gage with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Pretty harsh, but I mean, you can't sugarcoat this right now.
You
There's
can't,
no
Tom.
sugarcoating.
You can't, Tom.
No.
It'd be different if these 3 games they were 1-goal losses and they were playing really well and just
Right.
weren't getting the breaks. They've gotten their butts kicked in these 3 games. It hasn't been close outside of a few good moments. And I guess the topic we haven't really talked about is Matt Savoy's out. And I understand the frustration for the fans because I don't think he's done anything to be out of lineup. I just think this is Chris Knobloch saying, I need my vets. I'm going to the guys that I know more, and it doesn't mean you played bad, but I got to see what these guys could do with a veteran lineup. Now, it's still a veteran lineup with Matt Savoy in there, but you guys know what I mean. So I get the frustration with Matt Savoy being out, but I also understand why Knobloch's leaving him out of this game because they need to turn this around and quick.
Sportsnet's looking at defensemen that the Oilers might target: Alexiak, Ferraro, Byram, Savard, Matheson, Ristolainen, and Shen. For those that are curious, you might be driving on your way home from work. Interesting list, and I bet not many of those tickle a lot of Oilers fans' fancies. Just to cap up that Savoy discussion, I agree. It's not. And I think, listening to Chris Knobloch earlier today, it's not really what Matt Savoy hasn't been able to do, because I think, unfortunately for the Oilers, he's one of the few bright spots in the last 4 games. And that's good for him, but not a good sign for the team. Him, Draisaitl, Nurse.
Yeah.
Everyone else, you're kind of you're poking the stick into that meme. Do something. And Savoy has what? 4 games of NHL experience under his belt now, 1 with Buffalo, 3 with Edmonton. He's not going to be the spark for you. He's getting his feet wet at the NHL level. You need your vets to do what they're expected to do what they've done over the course of their careers. Yes, Victor Arvidsson, get your ass in gear. Yes, Jeff Skinner, continue to produce in the limited minutes that you get, even though it might not be the exact game that the coaching staff wants from you. You do need Connor McDavid to play better. He has not played well.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Was he minus 12 in his last 4 or 5 games?
And Tom,
Awful.
like a lot of people are texting in on the nasty chat, like, with the vets are crap. Okay, listen, I get it. I'm not defending Arvidsson or any other guys that are struggling, not producing.
They've had bad years.
But a coach is always going to go back to the vets. Always. Unless it's the elite of the elite young guys, he's always going to go back. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's what Knobloch's going with tonight. He's going with a vet. He's going with all vets. Pretty much that's his decision. And honestly, there's no excuses for this team tonight. The lines are lines that they're comfortable with. I know Mike, the Michigan fan, I think, is asking how long before he switches the lines tonight. Well, hopefully he doesn't.
Mike, minutes. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
As soon as Florida scores the first goal, it's
no surprise. Like, we saw the lines the other day too, going into that game, and again, as soon as Hagel scored that goal in the second period, what do we see? Nuclear option, and the Oilers had no jam after that.
No, they were
a bit more than the weekend, but not
Tom,
enough.
So when you know your team just doesn't have it, is not coming back, why do you continue to go nuclear? Like, they weren't coming back in that game.
Because that's your best bet.
Okay.
If I would put it out there to any fan of the team, and I know if I was coaching the Edmonton Oilers, like, if I need a goal, I'm putting those 2 together. That's it. I'm doing those 2 with Hyman, those 2 with Nugent Hopkins, those 2 with Corey Perry, for crying out loud. Like, go get your ass in gear. But I'm not only, and listen, don't get me wrong, I'm not a coach, but if you really feel like you have guys that are not giving you anything, then go from 4 lines down to 2.5.
Yeah.
In the last 30 minutes of the game. And then when you notice your guys are tired, maybe throw those other guys out there that are playing like crap. Be like, go do something. Otherwise, you're sitting. Go do something. Are your feet are tired or your legs are tired. They're crapping up because you're not going out there. You know why you're not going out? Because you're not doing anything. Mm-hmm. So play with a fire under your ass. And it feels like it's gotten to that point now. But he just, I think all of us, and we've seen some very veteran coaches of the National Hockey League, guys that are in the Hall of Fame, Ken Hitchcock, what would they do? Nuclear option. Because you know those two.
Yeah.
Any time you put them out there will likely tilt the ice.
And listen, we all understand why they go to it. I just sometimes you got to let.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal, but sometimes you have to let them play through it. Like McDavid, I'm not putting Draisaitl on your line. Figure it out, man. Figure it out with your line mates. Same goes for the other three lines, boys. Because every time they do, it's that line goes on the ice. We're all watching because they could score a goal. Once they come off, we just chill for the next 2 minutes. Wait till they're back on because you know nothing's coming after that. You know it.
I know. I would like the mentality, and I mean, you want to think that the other lines and the other guys that are very capable players in the NHL would think, okay, well, like Connor and Leon, sure, when they go out there, they'll probably do something. But I would want to be a difference maker in a positive way and not just coast through a game. I don't feel like these guys right now have that mentality.
But that and then you know I've been on the Jeff Skinner train all season. I think he needs to play more. I don't think he's really been given an opportunity in the top six. He's getting it tonight, Tom. That's why I'm saying if they go down 1-0 and they're not playing their best, just leave it. See what he can bring you with Draisaitl and Arvidsson.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And that's what I think fans are afraid of is that as soon as they're down or if they're not playing well, boom, Skinner's back. You know, the blender comes out, the nuclear line stays together, and then it's just a mishmash of, hey, let's see if these guys work together. Do you know what I mean? And against a team like Florida, that's not going to work.
Yeah. No, that's true. They'll use and abuse you like they did back in December. All right, keep those texts coming in. We're going to get to a bunch of them. Tom Gazzola live on location at Boston Pizza Westgate. I saw VR Montenegro. He's here. Dusty Nielsen made a quick appearance. And then Derek Van Diest from NHL.com will be stopping by. Hernan, you should come down too. Tony and Curtis, we haven't seen them for a little while. And they're in good spirits. They got a lot of prizes to give away, some leftover Super Bowl stuff. Some GCs, obviously, as well to Boston Pizza. Some hats, some T-shirts, a cooler. We've got a Madri pint glass and a Dallas Cowboys tumbler. So if you drink something, maybe a little scotch on the rocks and you like the Dallas Cowboys, one of those little glasses, we've got that. We'll be giving those away all evening long as the Oilers take on the Florida Panthers. And by the way, they do have the golf simulator here, the Coors Light golf simulator. They are starting up a league next month, and we're a day away from March. So details coming up. But if you're interested in a sim golf league, and I know they're very popular, you know what, Nancy, you can play like how we play video games against each other online. Mm-hmm. You can play sim golf the same way.
Really?
And but they're doing an in-house league here at Boston Pizza Westgate, 170th Street and 90th Avenue. So come on down. Food specials tonight: $5 off medium pizzas, $1 off tankards of Molson and Coors beer. And come and take advantage of those. I feel like I'm having a pizza tonight. I'm kind of hungry. This cold has been killing me, buddy. It's been an absolute pain in the ass. Let's get to some text here. Let's go to McLovin, who texts in and says, consistency. Stop the line blending. Even when they're down a goal, let them build their game and work through issues. This one I like says, who will have more giveaways, Tommy or Evan Bouchard? That's from LB. LB? Evan Bouchard. And I've got a lot of giveaways.
Hopefully Tommy does, man. Holy
I've got like 6 T-shirts. I've got like 5 hats. I've got a beer mug. I got the on the rocks tumbler glass and a cooler. So Tony and Curtis have been very, very generous. And I've got a whole bunch of gift certificates to Boston Pizza. And I'm still taking Evan Bouchard to have more giveaways. LB, great text. I appreciate that very much. Nat, so you got anything?
I'm going to drink 2 beers for every bad goal Skinner lets in. Trouble is, I only have 8 beers in the fridge.
Uh-oh. No harm in a combine.
Man.
Yeah, he's being positive. Norm says, let's go Oilers. Have a great night, Tom. And Hernan, Guy Flaming, host of the Pipeline Show. You can catch that Saturdays at noon right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, says, I'm no NHL expert, but I think even Dolly Parton would look at the Oilers and say, whoa, that's too heavy. Edmonton misses all the speedy depth they had last year and then let walk. Good to hear from Guy. What else? Duffman says, I think this is an attempt to rally the troops and build around redemption back in Florida where their hearts were broken, and it's time for them to redeem themselves. And then Rod Z adds, does Leon's 6-game goal streak come to an end tonight? And he scored the first goal for the Oilers in the last 4 games, too, on top of the fact that he's got a 6-game goal streak. No, I think he's the one consistent. I think he's going to score tonight. What say you, Hernan?
Yeah, I think he's unreal this year. I mean, there's nothing else to say. I mean, where would they be without him? Everybody's having a down year, so I wouldn't bet against him scoring tonight. So
you need Nugent Hopkins and Hyman to pick it up too. I mean, those guys at times have been good this year, but not consistently enough. You need Adam Henrique to get his ass in gear. You need obviously Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner when he's actually playing to get going. Like, you need a lot of guys to just shake this off, this malaise, especially coming out of this break. It seems like some of these guys are still in Mexico, for crying out loud, and that's unacceptable. And you're getting your asses handed to you night in, night out to start this road trip. And it's costing you points in the standings. It's costing you positioning. LA's 2 points back of you.
Yeah.
Wake up. Wake up.
And that's why, like, it's so negative today towards the Oilers, and everybody's picking Florida to win. That's why they're going to win tonight.
Of course.
We've seen this how many times, Tom?
Every time. All the time. Whenever you expect them to do one thing, they do the exact opposite.
They are going to win 5-2. You heard it here first.
Wow. Tell that to Joaquin.
Big win for the Oil.
Reid.
Big win for the Oil.
All right. Couple minutes left. You can get those texts in. Let us know your thoughts. And we will also remind everyone you can come on down to Boston Pizza Westgate. Don't come and hug me or anything like that. I don't want to get anybody sick. But I'll hook you up with, maybe I'll buy you a beverage. So come take advantage of all the food and drink specials, and we'll have a good time together. And maybe the Oilers will do what Hernan said and win a game. Dirk texting in says, guys, here's hoping they're tired of this crap and their give a meter goes up fast because we're all sick of it. Play like you're a 6:30 team and not a tire fire. Let's pray quietly. Thanks. From Dirk. Matt Hyman says, Hernan, is it wrong that I kind of hope Oil lose just so I can see chaos in the postgame? And can I add to that? It's not only Matt Hyman, but like right when I walked in, manager Tony over here from BP was just like, my goodness, that was something when Hernan absolutely blew up the other day. And I was like, that's why we call him the Latino Heat.
And that wasn't even that bad. I was just tired of some gentleman that turns the puck over too much. But no, let's keep it positive, Oiler fans. They're still second in the Pacific.
Are you smirking right now? I saw that.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, okay. Oilers lines one more time for tonight. You got McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl with Skinner and Arvidsson, Henrique between Janmark and Brown, Kasperi Kapanen with Podkolzin and Perry. That fourth line, we'll see how much they actually play together. On defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Stetcher with Emberson. We'll also see how much that pairing actually plays tonight because Darnell Nurse is out with an undisclosed injury, according to Chris Knobloch, day to day. Brett Kulak paired up with John Klingberg. No Matt Savoy for the Oil. As for the Panthers, Barkov between Verhaeghe and Reinhart. Bennett with Samoskevich and Rodriguez. Lundell between Luostarinen and Boqvist. Noshik with Greer and Gadjevich. On defense, Gustav Forsling with Aaron Ekblad. Niko Mikkola with Dmitry Kulikov. Juvis Balinskis with Nate Schmidt, and your starting goalie, Stu Skinner for the Oil, Sergei Bobrovsky for the Panthers. That is going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show from Boston Pizza Westgate. Hernan Salas is coming down, I hope. I just got a text from Reid Wilkins. He will be coming down after his show. We've got Kelvin, and we've got VR Montenegro already here. Derek Van Dies from NHL.com. Dusty made an appearance. It's going to be great. Lots of giveaways that we're going to give away in the intermissions. Some good stuff. So come on down. Boston Pizza Westgate, 170th Street and 90th Avenue. A big thank you to Joaquin Gage, who stepped in for Cass, and Jameson Olive. We only had a minute or two with him, unfortunately, due to technical difficulties. But coming up next, the final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay, Milne, and Ice Cube. For Hernan, I'm Tom. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see you after the game.
The Lock Shop.
Huss, if you're playing a golf course and you see an alligator on your fairway, how do you approach this?
I have experienced that personally. We were playing at Copperhead in Florida. I go around the corner and there was a gator about 15 feet away from me. I, in fact, went with unusual speed for myself away from it very quickly.
The Lock Shop, weekday mornings at 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino. Don't miss the internationally recognized tribute, the Alan Jackson Experience, April 18th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Play more tables and games.
Play more tables and games. Make the most of your bad game. Oh, you want to, you need to, you know just what you gotta do. It's time to add some fun to your life. Make the most of your bad game. Play more tables and games. PlayMoreGames.ca.
Love is in the air.
I love you.
And you? And you? And you? Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
Missing the course? The Canadian Ice House is here to keep your skills sharp. Trackman golf simulators are open. Real golf action right in downtown Edmonton. Don't let the off-season slow you down. Visit us in-store or check out thecanadianicehouse.com for all the details.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino. Don't miss the internationally recognized tribute, the Alan Jackson Experience, April 18th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Tommy Gunn's Barbershop is more than just a barbershop. It's a top-notch, tailor-made experience from check-in to check-out. Get a precision haircut, a classic shave, or a facial to step up your style. Just walk in, relax, and let Tommy Guns take it from there. Find comfort in knowing their team follows the code, which is their commitment to care for you as a customer. Check out Tommy Guns today, in-store or online at TommyGuns.com to bring out the best in you. Tommy Guns, where every cut is done right every time.
Paging 500! Whoop!
Edmonton's Darnell Nurse is day-to-day with an undisclosed injury as the Oilers hit the road in Sunrise to battle the Panthers. Matt Savoy is scratched, with Jeff Skinner stepping back into the Oilers lineup. That one gets underway shortly. And the NHL has 6 other games going down momentarily. The Flames and Lightning dropping the puck. St. Louis and Washington duking it out, while the Hurricanes and Sabres face off. And kicking off their postseason, the Nadukes men's hockey team welcomes in the Concordia Thunder to the Nate Arena. It's Golden State and Orlando tipping off before the Nuggets and Bucks go to war. After that, Charlotte and Dallas hit the court while New Orleans visits Phoenix. And Trey Smith is set to become the highest paid guard in the NFL, with NFL Network's Ian Rappaport stating that the Chiefs will be franchise tagging the 25-year-old Pro Bowler, having his contract projected at around $24 million. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring, proudly serving Edmonton and area for over 30 years. Their showroom offers all the best and latest in flooring, tiles, and area rugs. Find them at the corner. Tell them ESD sent you for 10% off your next purchase. Shop in-store or online at ParamountFlooring.ca. I'm Zachary Kubish. That was your sports update. The Reid Wilkins Show continues.
Yeah, the Sportsnet telecast has indeed started with images from Game 7 of last year's Stanley Cup Final. No highlights from the game. Shots of Oilers players just moments after the game ended, and then shots from inside the dressing room. So here's the thing. In September, we had Doug Plagans on the show, Panthers play-by-play voice. We've had him on twice since the day of the game in December that was here, and we had him on yesterday. You love him. As a guest. And when we had him on in September, I was like, hey, man, I started this new show. I'm at a different station. Do you want to just come on and tell stories and be a good guy? And he said, yeah. So that day, we played. He does radio, but they had a little camera on him and Bill Lindsay as the Panthers won the Cup. And people were furious. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm dealing with this now, so we don't have to talk about it when the Oilers are in Florida on February 26th. So don't blame me for what was just on Sportsnet. Okay, I dealt with it. I let you deal with it and see it back in September, and I said, okay, let's put to bed that pain. And how do they start the broadcast? You know who I blame? I blame Gene Principe.
Me too. I was just going to say that.
Oh, look, I'm so nice.
Yeah, look at me.
I'm so nice, I'll say it twice. Pun, pun, pun.
Yeah.
Oh, look at my hair.
Ooh, look
Doesn't
at me.
that make me stand out?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so nice. Italy. Edmonton. Oh, mortadella.
Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Pizza.
Anyway, I actually love Gene. He's
of course.
the super nicest guy.
Of course.
We are back along with Jason Milne. I'm Reid Wilkins. Zachary Kubish is here as well for the second half of our show. We had a halftime today. We went from 3 to 4. Was it Collingwood Rob?
Yeah.
Congratulations to Collingwood Rob. He was the mystery player of the game winner for Hudson's Canada's Pub, so he gets a $25 GC. It was Ken Reid, one of the crazy Canucks skiers who were prominent in the late 1970s and late 1980s. I'm not going to say the names of any others of them because who knows?
Maybe
they're going to be mystery athletes of the game later on, maybe even Tuesday, the next time we do it against Anaheim. But it was Ken Reid, not the sportscaster, Reid, the skier. Ken Reid, have we had him on this show? You would love Ken.
You tried booking him.
Oh, he couldn't do it.
Yeah,
he couldn't do it, or the time didn't work out.
Let's get him on.
Yeah, we should get him on.
Get him on.
He's a fun dude.
He'd be a great, just hang.
Yeah. So Ken Reid was the Hudson's Canada's Pub mystery athlete of the game. We have the Oilers and the Panthers on the ESTV here in the studio, so we'll keep you updated and talk about the game as it's going on. We have plenty of other interesting things to talk about in this last hour. In about 15 minutes, a friend and former teammate of Jay Milne is going to join us. Where does he work now?
He works he's an animator at Walt Disney Animation Studio in Burbank, California.
Wow. And where did he grow up?
Humboldt, Saskatchewan.
And you guys played together where?
Golden Bears football.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. He was number 78. Silky smooth receiver. This guy, he wasn't the biggest guy. He wasn't the fastest guy, but the hands and the route running capability were just perfection.
Yeah. It'll be fun to talk to him. That's quite a profession to pursue. And I think you'll handle most of the interview, but I'm really curious.
I hope not. I want you to jump in.
I'm curious about his career path and what he works on and how he does the work. I think that's a really cool guest for you to bring on the show today. So thank you.
Feel free to ask him anything. Anything.
You can text us, of course. River Cree Resort and Casino is the presenting sponsor of the Inbox, 780-218-9999. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant, all-you-can-eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday from 4 to 10 p.m. We were using the text line to do the Hudson's Canada's Pub Mystery After the Game. It is a text-only contest. One of the things today, I'm sure people have seen this. I didn't see if there's any updates or so in the last hour, but Gene Hackman found dead in his home. When I first heard this morning, I was like, oh, he passed away. He's 95. Now there is, I don't know if there's any update, but perhaps there's something to investigate. I'm not necessarily saying it was foul play, but now I believe the investigators think they may have been passed away in the house for some time. So sad, unfortunate, but certainly a day to reflect on his career. So let's do our top three. It's our top three Gene Hackman movies. There are a lot to choose from.
Tons.
Amazing career. And he hasn't acted since about 2004. He kind of stepped away and was like, I'm done. Fuge Sausage, the best sausages you will ever eat. Locally made, packed full of flavor. Order online or visit the Min store, 6736 99th Street. Take advantage of their EST discount. 10% off your order by entering the online code EST or just mention Edmonton Sports Talk in the store. As Fuge Sausage says, you can't beat our meat. So it is our top three Gene Hackman movies. Where to begin? Like I wrote down my three, and now I'm scanning the list again, and I'm thinking, did I pick the correct three?
Well,
Because-
it's an opinion. It's what you think.
Well, no,
of.
but even in my mind, I'm like, well, wait a minute, maybe I should have picked that.
Your number one is probably the one that everybody thinks of.
Well, I didn't really order them. I just picked through. Okay, but I'll say the obvious one since we're a sports station. Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Basketball film.
Classic.
Based on, I don't think it's in 1986 it came out. I believe I went and saw it in the theater when I would have been 12. It's not a direct, this is what it happened, but it's based on that small high school that won the Indiana State tournament, right?
Yes.
And they don't do this anymore in Indiana, I don't think. They don't say, okay, all the small schools and the high schools are in the same tournament.
They tier them.
They tier them now, which I guess is common, but you lose the mystique of something happening like would happen in the movie. And it is inspired by Milan High, who won the state championship in 1954. Gene Hackman stars as Norman Dale, a new coach with a spotty past. Dennis Hopper is in it. This is what Wikipedia calls him, the basketball-loving town drunk. I mean, you know how it's going to end. Inspirational movie. I obviously I'll put Hoosiers on this list.
Jimmy Chitwood.
Was that with a star player or one of them?
Yeah.
Most men. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Two things I remember. Because Dennis Hopper, I believe, was a former basketball star in the small town. And didn't he have a story about having a game-winning shot attempt, and he really builds it up, and then he goes, in and out, and he kind of does that circular motion like it went around the rim. And then I think the famous scene, and I know the guys were talking about this earlier this afternoon as well, they go from playing in their little gym and small gyms to the massive stadium, and he gets out the tape measure and goes, hey, what's the distance? Oh, yeah, what about the distance between these two lines? Huh, all the same as our gym. Hey, interesting. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, Hoosiers has got to be on there.
Yeah, are you doing three as well?
I did, and Hoosiers.
Yeah, we can share that one for sure. I think everybody would have. You can put your own in the nasty chat, by the way, if you're taking us in on YouTube. Still give us a thumbs up. This is a continuation of the stream from Tom and Hernan, so we'll still see how many thumbs we can get, and we'll keep you updated on the Oilers game. Are we even a minute in yet here? No score. Haven't really seen anything spectacular. Well, there's a wide open shot from the slot for Rodriguez. And Skinner comes up with the save 55 seconds into the first period. All right, so we both are going with Hoosiers. Now, oh, man. Do I dare change my mind? Now, here's another thing, Jay. It's, as I often say, I've seen quite a few movies. I rarely watch movies more than once now as I've gotten older. You know? So both these movies that I'm going to have on this list, I've seen. They're both great, but I've only seen them once. I'll start with a Western directed by and featuring Clint Eastwood. I got to go with Unforgiven. Yep. Now, do I remember a lot about the movie? I don't, but I remember that it's really good.
Classic. I mean, it's classic.
Yeah,
What
91.
I didn't have that on my list.
92, pardon me, 1992.
Great Metallica song, too.
Unforgiven? Which album is that off?
Black?
Is it in that movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think there's anything to...
Right. But that's the first thing that came to my mind. Yeah, it came out in 91, their Black album. Self-titled. Metallica. Boom.
Would have been great if they would have done the soundtrack for a Western set in the 1880s or whatever it would have been.
My second movie that... And these are just... More so for my list was just what I thought of when I would think of Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
And that's The Replacements.
Oh, interesting. Which is a movie we've talked about on the show before.
Yeah. So he's coach Jimmy McGinty comes in for the Washington Sentinels as the league is on strike and coaches essentially a bunch of scrubs.
Right.
And turns them around. Keanu Reeves, who lives in a boat on that movie, is a star in that show. I just like it.
That's the one. Remember, that was the day I was combining The Replacements with Necessary Roughness.
Correct.
Which was because I remembered the scene where Kathy Ireland was the kicker and was being, ridiculed, verbally harassed by jerks on the other team. We got a fight. We got Corey Perry and we got a fight. Who is that?
Greer.
Oh, Greer. Sorry. So Corey Perry and Greer fighting just inside the Oilers' blue line. It's been going on for a while. Not a lot of huge punches have connected. Greer probably throwing more punches. Now Perry has the edge because he's kind of got him in a headlock and is trying to deliver uppercuts from underneath. The linesmen are getting in there. They didn't want the linesmen in there.
I don't think Corey Perry wanted much to do with that from the start, but
I didn't see how it started, so we'll keep an eye on it here.
Interesting. You know what the fights do for this team?
Well, early in the season, they had to fight to win.
Maybe, we'll see.
No, I think Perry kind of got that one going because they were kind of tied up. A puck battle, puck came out. Might have been Perry who might have been the first one to say, let's do this here.
I'm a little lefty jab there.
And Perry knows what he's doing.
Yep.
Right? He knows how crappy it's been for the Oilers lately. So it would not surprise me if he was looking for this opportunity. And to do it early in the... I mean, I know a team's down 5-1. Well, they got to fight. And I'm always like, what? Okay, great.
It's too late.
So you look like... To me, that's almost a childish response.
This was predetermined.
Let's care now.
Let's get the boys fired up.
Maybe this is something from Perry early in the game. We'll see if it has an impact. Obviously, it's been a very lackluster road trip for the Oilers so far. But Perry gets in a fight, less than 3 minutes into the game.
Somewhat of a lackluster fight, too.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Let's
be honest.
They were there. It was a lot of kind of wrestling and trying to get punches in, and the punches that were thrown didn't really. I mean, I think Greer, a couple of his punches might have hit Perry's back because of the way that they were. He got turned around in the fight, but nonetheless, Perry trying to fire up the bench a little bit. 3.5 minutes into the first period, no score. Shots are 1-1. Oilers and Panthers. The Draisaitl line with Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson is on the ice right now. Okay, so we're doing our top 3 for Fuge Sausage Gene Hackman movies. Jay and I both have Hoosiers on the list. Arvidsson's been cross-checked behind the net, and it looks like the Oilers are going to the power play. I had the Western Unforgiven. Jay had the Replacements. Or is Leon getting this penalty? I saw Arvidsson on his knees with a Panthers player hovering over him. and the ref signaling cross-checking. Yeah, he's quite unhappy going to the box. So Bennett and okay, well, those are both penalties. Because then so Draisaitl,
he checked
Bennett down. And I'd say that's a hard cross-check. He didn't knock him into the boards. But he knocked him down. The puck went behind the net.
Kulikov.
And Kulikov hit to me, that's a hit from behind. But I've often said that they don't call nearly as many hits from behind as I think should be called. Because Arvidsson was about 1.5 feet from the boards, and Kulikov just came up flat behind him and hit him in the numbers. I thought that was a penalty. But the Draisaitl one was a penalty, so the refs called the first one, and the Panthers are on an early power play. What's the Oilers' PK at the last 7 games? Like below 50%?
Horrible.
This month? Yeah, it's horrible.
My last one, Gene Hackman movies, is Runaway Jury.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And that is because I do like John Grisham novels. This is based off of his novel, Runaway Jury. Gene Hackman plays shady jury consultant Rankin Fitch.
Great name.
Yeah.
Rankin Fitch.
And all of these are always set in
Who was is he the star or is he supporting in that one?
He's supporting.
Okay.
John Cusack would be probably the star.
Okay.
Runaway Jury. Love it.
I got to go with another Best Picture winner. That is French Connection. Again, been a long time since I saw it. It's an action movie that won Best Picture. I think kind of known for being revolutionary with maybe some of the editing and pacing of how they cut it together. And it is a really good movie. The one that would maybe doubt myself was like, oh, wait a minute. Bonnie and Clyde with Hackman and Faye Dunaway is an awesome movie from 1967. If you can ever watch that one or stream it or get it on VHS. Bonnie and Clyde's a great movie. Someone in the Nasty Chat put No Way Out. 1987. Kevin Costner was in that. Costner was the star. A big plot twist at the end of that one, Jay. I don't know if you ever saw it, but Hackman was in that one. Mississippi Burning is one a lot of people a lot of people have mentioned as well. That's up there. Man, oh man. I mean, some people would put Crimson Tide probably on the list. Well, he was an Enemy of the State as well. He was in a lot. Runaway Jury was actually his second to last film, according to Wikipedia. He was in the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yep.
For a lot of people, that could be a list as well. But incredible career, long life, tragically coming to an end. Again, we don't know exactly how or even when at this point, given how he and I guess one of their dogs.
Yeah.
They had there were 3 dogs on the property, one of which was passed away in the house next to his wife by the sounds of it. So there's a little bit of mystery. Doesn't mean there's foul play, but there's a little mystery to this. But Gene Hackman passing away at the age of 95 and giving us a great sports movie. Certainly a feel-good sports movie in Hoosiers. The old underdog story. Why not? All right, if you're watching on YouTube, click the thumbs up. I know a lot of you are watching the game, but you can listen to us and do that at the same time. We are watching the game. It looks like, well, I better not speak too soon. I will say there are 10 seconds left in the Panthers' power play, and they are a long way from the Oilers' net. Will we actually get a big early game PK from the Oilers? We will, Jay Milne. My goodness. Time to celebrate. Oh, you played something at the same time.
Go ahead. Is yours plugged in?
Oh, no, mine's just on I forgot to plug my computer back in. I was trying to play the Paul Stanley Heavens on Fire intro. I don't need to plug back in. All right, we better take a quick timeout. Very special guest from Humboldt to Hollywood when we get back.
It's scoreless between Edmonton and Florida just over 5 minutes into the first. The Oilers just killed a Panthers power play. Leon Draisaitl serving that one, and there's no Darnell Nurse for the Oilers. He's day-to-day due to an undisclosed injury. Jeff Skinner is back in the lineup with Matt Savoy sitting in his place. And just one score through 7 live games in the NHL. Sharks leading the Canadiens off the stick of Fabian Zetterlund. We also have Calgary on the road in Tampa, Detroit hosting Columbus, as the Islanders battle the Bruins. All of those games are in the first. And kicking off their postseason, the Nadukes men's hockey team welcomes in the Concordia Thunder to the Nate Arena. And Orlando is up 13-3 early in the first against the Warriors. 4 other games on the NBA slate. Hornets and Mavs throw down. Pelicans meet the Suns. Nuggets battle the Bucks. And the Lakers face the Timberwolves. In the NFL, Trey Smith is set to become the highest paid guard in the league, with NFL Network's Ian Rappaport stating that the Chiefs will be franchise tagging the 25-year-old Pro Bowler, having his contract projected at just about $24 million. This sports update is brought to you by Find Edmonton. Find takes your unused furniture and home goods, help those moving out of homelessness. Get donations picked up or drop them off free of charge. Find out how you can make an impact at findedmonton.com or call them at 780-988-1717. We have a quick break, and the Reid Wilkins Show returns. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Fuge Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at fugesausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Fuge Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Well, the Oilers killed off one penalty and then took another one. Matthias Ekholm got the stick up on Aaron Ekblad, and Carter Verhaeghe has just scored on the power play. So 12:45 left in the first period, and the Panthers are up 1-0.
Was this offside, Reid?
Oh, they might review it. I think it is. I think
it looked offside.
That's not a great angle, but it looked offside just from the naked eye there. So we'll have to see if the Oilers challenge. Pass in front of the net. Here's a good shot, Jay. And that is blatantly offside. Yeah, this will be challenged and it'll come off the board. So no score. All right, Jay, take it away.
Well, I am pleased to have my dear friend, former teammate, hailing from the massive Humboldt, Saskatchewan, now all the way down in Burbank, California. Ladies and gentlemen, this is animator Andrew Ford. Fordo, how are you
Jay,
doing, buddy?
Hey, good to see you. Reid, nice meeting you.
Hi, Andrew.
Fordo, we were looking at your beautiful face during the commercial break, and everybody in the room said, "Wow, Jay, are you sure you played with him? Because he looks much younger than you." To which I said, "Thanks, guys. I appreciate that." But then our esteemed producer, the Coob, mentioned that you yourself somewhat resemble a Disney character. Have you heard that before?
No, which one? Well, I'm afraid to ask which one actually.
Well, you've just got those big, beautiful eyes and those white teeth. I mean, you got it all, Fordo. You're looking good. You must be keeping up with your health.
It's the Hollywood life, the Hollywood lifestyle.
Of course. How could I forget? Fordo, it is great to see you. So many questions, and I guess let's start with how you and I know each other, and we played against each other. Andrew Ford was a member of the Saskatoon Hilltops who used to kick the crap out of us. But I believe we did get you once at Gordie Howe Bowl in Saskatoon. And then we came together and played at the University of Alberta, the Golden Bears football. Fordo, I was explaining earlier, but, looking back on that now, and we put together some good years. We had some good years at U of A, but we never got over the hump. We never got out of the Canada West. Do you ever look back on that and regret or have some, I wish it would have went this way? Do you ever think about those football days?
Sure. I think we were building something special. The first year I was there, I think we were maybe 2-7 or 1-8, but the next year we upset the Huskies in the playoffs. We went further than we thought. And then I left after that year. And I think that's my one regret, is maybe staying one more year. There was such a great core. You never know what would have happened. I think there was another receiver came on, Ralph, who was fantastic too. So, but just being a part of that and building that was really special. I don't regret. I mean, so much of it's timing and luck and the way the ball bounces and stuff. But I think, we had some fantastic years there, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
So as I mentioned off the top, you were from Humboldt, Saskatchewan. Fordo, tell everybody here, how do you go from Humboldt, Saskatchewan to Burbank, California, and now an animator for Walt Disney Animation Studio?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long journey. It certainly didn't happen overnight, and it took me through Saskatoon, where I was at the U of S, working on an art portfolio, learning how to draw, getting stronger. Kind of during that time, I went to Edmonton, played some football. During that time, the industry kind of shifted to more computer animation. So by the time I went to school for that was the focus. And I did that school at an art school in Vancouver afterwards. So I did lots of schooling, but just kept working over the years, getting it. I started with video game company first, EA, Electronic Arts. They do the EA sports games. So I was there, you kind of cut your teeth, but always kind of moving towards getting into feature films. There's not a lot of those positions. There's only a handful of studios, but that was always the goal, to do that like performance animation art. And it's just, constantly working, trying to put in those 10,000 hours. And just over the years, you meet more people, they move to different companies, they know people who are at these different places, and you just kind of build those relationships, and finally you can get your foot in the door.
So, I was looking at your IMDb page, which is cool. You have your own IMDb page. I think that's fantastic. And we talked, prior to this, but you were on Zootopia, Moana, Frozen 2, Encanto, and I believe I can mention this, but you're working currently on Zootopia 2, right? Okay, so when you say you're working on let's take Zootopia 2, which Zootopia, it's a family favorite. It's one of my daughter's favorites. I remember once you FaceTime my daughters because they couldn't believe that their dad knew somebody that worked on Frozen, and that was very nice of you to do. You said it's coming out in November, and you're working on Zootopia 2. What's the timeline, and how does it start? Do you, as the animation department or whatever you want to call it, do you get a script? Do you get an outline? Do you get a character breakdown as to what this character represents? How do you come up with what, when you put that digital pen to the screen, how do you decide what that character is going to look like?
There's directors and writers who are on the show maybe 3 or 4 years before it comes to the animators at all. And they're going through just different permeations of what that movie might be. They're just chopping it up. They're doing a version, they're redoing it. So by the time it gets to us, it's been worked a lot. The characters are fleshed out. It comes to animation about a year before it comes out, and we have about a 6 to 8 month period of basically we're doing all the movement, all the acting stuff. There's departments before us that'll set up the cameras. There's character designers who are designing. So it's an animal kingdom basically, or like an animal city. And there's going to be new animals. So those need to be designed by someone. They need to be sculpted by someone, built by someone. And then, it comes to us about a year before, and we try and get it done as quickly as we can.
Andrew, so you mentioned the advent of computer animation sort of when you were getting into this industry. So that's what I think now. And look, I don't have kids, so I probably don't watch as much as other people, but I've seen some of the stuff over the years. So now I envision somebody's on a computer and they're saying this, and that moves the left arm. But how much actual drawing is done to prepare for that? And then how much actual drawn animation winds up in a film?
The original artists who do those designs of those characters, a lot of them are like ink or pencil. They're pencil on paper or digital artists, and they're doing it all hand drawn. Those characters end up getting sculpted, and all those sculpted things on the computer, they're almost like action figures, and they've got all these bones in them. By the time they come to the animators, we're moving those bones around to control the eyebrows. Say the eyebrows might have 5 controls each side, and we're lifting them up, trying to get the right acting and expressions. But a special thing about Disney is we've got some of those hand-drawn experts from the 90s who worked on The Little Mermaid and Aladdin, and we'll do our shots, which are more like sculpting and posing, and they'll draw over top of it in their 2D sensibility, their hand-drawn sensibility, and then we try and capture that as CG animators. So we're trying to make our computer-looking animation just a little more Disney, if that makes sense.
You know, it's interesting because sometimes, now I know with especially what Marvel has done, people sit through the credits, but especially if I watch a movie with my dad, sometimes we'll just leave the credits on. And you often, one of us will say, look at all these people that worked on. So like you're one, and I'm not downplaying what you're doing. I'm actually saying like that's cool. Like you're one of those people where it's like after the star and the director and the cinematographer have gone by, like, but you're all one of these like kind of penalty killers, you know, making sure that the movie's still a win.
Well, when you see there's credits and you just see like hundreds and hundreds of names, usually the more names meant that the project was in more trouble and they just needed to add people to like get it done. Because basically the deadline doesn't shift. Like they know they need it in theaters by November, for example, for Zootopia 2. So we need to, like, the more it's in trouble, the more they need to throw bodies at it. So if you see lots and lots of names, that's probably an indicator.
So this deadline that you say it never ends, I understand that. So you're on Zootopia 2. Like, is this something where, okay, now, you know, we were working 8-hour days. Okay, everybody, we're on to 12-hour days until this job is done. Or is this something that you can sit down and say, no, we've got this to happen before this month ends? And, you know, the scheduling of it, is it something that is manageable, or is it everybody full bore right now?
At the very beginning, it's pretty great. Like, it's very steady. They have this ideal schedule that we're going to be on, but kind of the movie keeps changing and things get pushed. So by the end, those last few months are usually, it's called crunch time. And that's when there's either mandatory overtime, or once you get to a place where you're a little more comfortable, you can say like, hey, you know what? I can get my shot done in a certain amount of time. I don't necessarily need to work those hours. And I think Disney's a great company with that, where they'll talk to each person individually and see your situation, whether or not you can work overtime or want to, or feel like you're getting burnt out. But usually at the end of the movie, there is a crunch time to try and get it done.
Okay, so where do you go to work? Like, do you go to a big Disney building in Hollywood? Yeah. Like, can you paint the picture for us?
It's not at Disneyland or anything like that. That's a little further south, but Disney's got a great big studio campus right here in Burbank. I can actually walk from my house. It's right. If you have ever seen pictures of the Hollywood sign on the Hollywood Hills, it's just on the other side of that sign on like in the valley over that hill. So there's all these studios where they do shoot live action movies and TV shows for ABC, or there might be ESPN, that kind of stuff. And then Disney Animation has its own building as well that's got a big Mickey Sorcerer's hat that you can see right out the front. They do everything they can to make it very artsy. It's got a lot of nods from the past, all this great concept art from the original movies like Snow White and stuff. And yeah, it's an office building, but kind of the most inspiring office building you could imagine.
So do you get unlimited access to Disneyland at your disposal? Is that one of the perks of the job?
I do personally with my badge.
Oh wow!
It used to be a little better where before they've got this whole reservation system now, but every twice a year we'll get comp tickets that we can like extend to anybody. And my ticket used to be able to get in me plus 3 other people. Now those dates are blocked off a lot and it's only open during the week, so it doesn't really work as much as it can. But my wife is also an animator at Disney, so we both can get in whenever we want for free. So we do that once in a while, just go down to the park, which I never did as a kid. I never got to go to Disneyland until I was in my 30s, but now it's like a few times a year.
Well, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
45.
45. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing your story. I know it's kind of a Cole's Notes version, but going from Humboldt, Saskatchewan to working, for Disney, for working on huge Hollywood productions and doing what you do is really cool. Like, I'm glad you told your story. Before we go, though, I mean, this is a sports show, so I know you played with this guy, a Canadian in LA. Okay, so you're from Humboldt. I'm going to guess who your favorite CFL team is, but maybe I'm wrong. But
you're right.
Do you follow? Are you able to follow CFL? Do you still follow NHL? Have you gotten into the Kings or the Ducks? Like, what's your sports fandom and experience like now?
I love football, CFL and NFL. That's where my time goes. I have a 1-year-old daughter now, so hockey, it's more I pick it up in the playoffs. Baseball, more pick it up in the playoffs now. I will say I got to see the Oilers come down and play the Kings last year. Seeing Connor McDavid live was incredible. Like, that guy makes the other players who have some of the best hand-eye coordination in the world look clumsy. He's just on another level. So, but yeah, football, both CFL, definitely cheer for the Riders, and then NFL, I just like watching the whole production.
All right. How do you get CFL down there?
It's through it used to be on ESPN, but now you just have to get it through the TSN app.
Okay. Hey, thanks for doing this. Maybe we can have you on again when Zootopia's 2 is coming out in November, and you're hard at work on that.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can get you on around the release date.
I appreciate it, you guys. It's good talking to you both.
Right on.
Take care, Fordo.
Yeah, see you, Jay.
Andrew Ford, your former teammate and now an animator. So he explained what he does. That's really cool. And I like that he said that if you sit through the credits, the more names you see, perhaps it was a more troubled production.
Panic.
Yeah. Oh, we can't get this finished. That was really cool. As we were wrapping up that interview, Florida scored, shot from the left wing. Looked like it hit, I'm not sure which Oiler it was. Looked like it hit an Oiler in the back and then went in. So, yeah, here's a Belinsky's with the shot. I think that's off Kulak's back and then in. Oilers have had a couple of chances. McDavid had a bit of an odd man rush while you guys were. I don't know if you saw me pointing at the TV because I actually thought it went in. There was a pass in front to McDavid, but it went off him and went over that. So the Oilers behind, as they've often been the last few games, 1-0 Florida with 7:06 left in the first period. So when you were playing with him, did you know how serious he was about pursuing animation as a career?
No, I have to admit, no. Yeah, it was something that, I knew that was part of his life for sure, and that after football, that's what he wanted to pursue, but I had no idea this is where it would lead to. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, if you look at Frozen 2 and you could see his name on the credits.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome to see, because you can't, I honestly, that was the team guy. You can't have a teammate better than Andrew Ford.
Right.
He's just a great person, a great human, and very respectful, and is just an incredible athlete that had that. He'll smile at you while he's kicking your down the field, and he'll laugh about it. He just was so gifted as a receiver. So, yeah, that was awesome. We'll have to get him on again, because that was just great. It was really nice seeing him.
We are in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law with over 200 years of experience. James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. JamesHBrown.com. Book your private consultation today. We're back with Buying or Selling for Damon Bunting.
From Sunrise, the Oilers are down 1-0 to the Panthers just midway through the first. Darnell Nurse is out of the lineup with an undisclosed injury. He's day-to-day, plus Jeff Skinner stepped in for Matt Savoy as he was named a healthy scratch. 6 other games are live, having the Hurricanes storming the Sabres to pot 3 goals. 5 minutes left in the opening frame. The Caps and Blues are tied at 1 near the end of 20 as the Sharks lead 2-1 on the Canadiens. After that, Philly visits Pittsburgh, Vancouver meets Anaheim, and the Blackhawks battle the Golden Knights. And from the Nate Arena, the Ooks men's hockey team takes on Concordia to kick off their postseason. At the end of the first quarter, it's Golden State down 11 points against the Magic. After that, the Nuggets and Bucks tip off. Phoenix challenges New Orleans, and the Timberwolves duke it out against the Lakers. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update. The Reid Wilkins Show returns on the other side of the break.
The EST Hangout.
He is moving on
It's because that one was just easier to maneuver.
Yeah, but the other one, he got stuck. This one, he's like, look at those fingers. Actually, Kate, we're going to get to White Lotus in a second. I am just stunned.
Turn it back up.
Right away. Well, we're at 55 seconds.
It'll be over here. Do you want me to look at you to finish, or do you want me to look at the camera?
Look at me. No, look at the camera. A minute, too.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Love is in the air.
I love you.
And you? And you? And you? Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
I've got something under my skin.
All right, we got a goal by Brett Kulak, his 7th of the season. The pass from almost in the left wing corner came to Kulak, who was joining the rush, and he shot a low one from about the face-off circle on the left wing and looked like just past Bobrovsky's left skate, and it's in. So we got
pretty weak goal. Right?
I wouldn't have expected that shot to go in necessarily.
No, you would not expect Bobrovsky to let that in.
1-1 tie. Oilers and Panthers, 5 minutes left in the first period. Flurry in front of the net by the Panthers. I think Skinner kicked it out, so still 1-1. By the way, some of our sports updates throughout the afternoon presented by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. Get treated like a pro with their highly skilled crew. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance your performance, get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Goob, I'm going to give this back to you right now so I don't forget later on. I can also tell you portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brewhouse. Make your birthday legendary at the Canadian Brewhouse. Epic food, killer drinks, and a vibe you can't beat. Plus, get free nachos with our app. Book your party now, the Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Rip City Step in the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. He says, great interview. Thank you for taking such a broad view of all parts of life on your show.
Well, we like doing that. And I think I did that on Inside Sports when I could, and Jay is full on board with that. So that was a really cool opportunity. I mean, he's a guy that works in Hollywood, and Jay knows him.
At Disney.
So it's pretty, like, I'm happy to do an interview like that. Like, that's a true story. And I looked up, like, in the Humboldt newspaper, wrote a story on him a few years ago. Because, like, it's not a common, it wouldn't be common to be growing up in a town. Like, Humboldt can't be much bigger than Evansburg, where I grew up. Maybe around the same size.
And you know what was
it would
cool?
be bigger because they have a junior A team, obviously.
Was that
but still,
they get all access to Disney.
Yeah, he just goes to Disney and he walks to work. Yeah,
that made my heart happy because it makes sense. You'd think there might be an off chance that they're like, well, no, why would we give them free passes to Disneyland when they work at Disney?
The official on the Oilers' goal is Kulak, his 7th from Klingberg and Podkolzin at 14:41. So it's just some people were asking if Draisaitl assisted on it. They do not have. I'm just going on the Score app. It's Kulak from Klingberg and Podkolzin. I better check NHL.com though. I thought that was Podkolzin that would have got the primary assist. Wasn't that him passing it out of the corner? Let's check. We have, sorry guys, I'm just getting up the summary on the fly here. We have Kulak from Podkolzin and Klingberg. Yeah, they're just showing it now. And Kulak just, I don't know. I'm not even sure how that went. I'm not even sure how it went in. It looked like he was passing it.
I don't think Bobrovsky thought he was shooting that.
Yeah.
Looked like he was caught off guard.
So 1-1, 2:55 left in the first period. Oilers and Panthers. Oilers is trying to end a 4-game losing streak. Okay, it's time for Buying or Selling. It's presented by our good buddy Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate. I better get to a limerick before I get too deep into this, though. Another one from Gavin. The subject is Bookbinder Limerick. I know who you are. I've written of you from afar. Book shall be bound. World doth go round. The best book is one left ajar.
Woo,
that's pretty good.
That was good.
That is pretty good. As Jay visited the Alberta Bookbindery today and met the actual Alberta Bookbinder, who's retiring.
Yes.
Quite happily by the sounds of it. Or it sounds like he's ready to retire.
He's ready.
He's ready to retire. I have a buying or selling? Because I have something I can do.
Floor's yours.
Okay, so I went home last night and I thought, and I know that's alarming to everybody, and I may keep bringing this up and see if what other people think. Because Gage and Hernan thought that's pretty cool, and now I'm flipping through all my notes. What page? Do you remember what page I wrote it on?
I do not.
On one of these. Well, it doesn't really matter. So the reason I first thought of this was because Greg Wyshynski was on the Nielsen show yesterday, and he said, the Four Nations face-off was great. And wouldn't it be cool if we could have a U.S.-Canada Summit Series or something like that? And I was like, well, the Summit Series in 1972 was 8 games. Do we need 8 games of Canada and U.S. NHLers playing each other in one of the Olympic or World Cup off years? I thought that's pretty excessive. But, why bother doing just a 3-game series or a 2-game home-and-home or whatever? So I thought, Canada-U.S., great hockey rivalry now. And maybe there'll be the appetite for a little bit of international hockey in the off years between World Cups and Olympics. So 2027, 2029. So I thought, okay, in 2027, let's feature Canada and the United States in a 7-game series. But here's how you do it. Of those 7 games, 3 games involve NHL players. 2 games are the national women's teams, and 2 games are the World Junior teams who just competed against each other in December and January. And there's no guarantee that Canada and the United States play each other in every World Juniors, right?
Correct.
And then if they did, then you also have now they're... And so then whoever gets more wins out of that series. Now, I know what people might be saying is, well, Reid, it's a 7-game series. Or what if some team wins the first 4 games? I'm saying you play all 7 games. Because... let's say the Canada wins the first 4 games, right? So you've won But now you want to really humiliate. Like you want there to be no doubt. Like let's win all 7. Or each little subset within that, the men, the women, and the juniors also have their own little competition. So let's say Canada is up 4-2 after 7 games. And the 7th game is the NHL players playing against each other, but they split their first 2 games, right? So at least then the American NHLers are saying, well, yeah, as a country, we're not going to win this whole thing, but we can be the better of the NHL players. And then when I was throwing this out to you yesterday, Jay, as an idea, I was pitching it as it's played over a week or so in 7 different NHL cities. You know, and I was saying, I think I said LA, Seattle,
went up the
Vancouver,
West Coast
Edmonton,
and then
Chicago. And I said wouldn't do Montreal and Boston because they just had the 4 nations. And then I started thinking, well, there's media that's got to travel and there's, logistical things about selling tickets. And you made a good point that if you had more than one game in the same city, the first ticket packages you put out for sale you got to get both.
Yeah.
You can't just pick the NHL game. So here's what I came up with. In 2027. The tournament begins Friday, February 12th with the women's teams playing in Seattle. Okay? Saturday, February 13th, it's the NHL players, Canada versus U.S.
In Seattle.
Yes. So the first 2 games are in Seattle. Okay? Now, then I've been a little biased for Canada's favor here, but to cut down on travel, I've kept this in the West, and I live in Edmonton, so I'm going to put games in Edmonton. Then on Sunday the 14th, the juniors play in Vancouver, which I think there would be interest for because there is a junior team in Vancouver. They've hosted the World Juniors a couple times. Then the NHL players play again on Monday the 15th. So I've picked 3 cities here, and they all get the NHL players game. Then the final 3 games are in Edmonton. February 16th, the women play their second of the 2 games. The juniors play on Wednesday, February 17th. And then it ends with a Thursday night game, just like we saw here, between the NHL players at Rogers Place. So Seattle, Vancouver, Edmonton.
7 days in a row?
7 days in a row.
7 days of fury.
So you'd have to shut down the NHL, but maybe not for as long as this. Like maybe it's just a week and a half shutdown to get this in. Or the NHL could still also hold its All-Star game, right? The first weekend. I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
maybe you give the All-Star game to Seattle. But the Saturday, the skills Saturday afternoon, the Canada-USA NHL game Saturday night, the All-Star game Sunday afternoon, and then in Vancouver on Sunday night, the juniors play.
You're onto something here. Now, this will never happen, though. Right?
I don't know. I think somebody might like this.
With the players.
Well, I wonder if the players who might be most irritated would be the players who didn't get to play in it. Because now Sweden, I'm leaving out. Now it's focused on just Canada and the U.S., right? So Sweden, Finland. But wouldn't this be something? Who's better, Canada and the U.S.? And it's not just the NHL players. The women's team and the junior teams get to play a role in it.
I like it.
Hey?
I like it.
You're buying it. This was not going to be the last time I talked about this.
I feel that. I'm buying, baby. I'd buy 10 of those.
And you could pick the cities, but I mean, I think you'd have to try and get it over with within a week. You could even have, you could do a doubleheader one day in the same city or even different cities, like a matinee and an evening game. But I kind of like spacing it out this way. You might go up against the NBA All-Star game or something like that. But just think of it. Can you imagine this? And quite frankly, the junior games might be the most intense out of all of these.
Sure. Could be something.
You're buying it.
I'm buying
for Damon Bunting. All right. I think we got to go.
Well, we do owe them one word at least.
One word of the day. Do it. Sorry, I totally forgot. Oops. You'd think I would know how the show worked by now.
The word of the day with Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they got to say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it?
My parents
And you
came
know what I'm saying.
Sorry, Samuel. My parents came to watch my daughter's basketball game last night. My mom hands me this little piece of paper. If you can see it on the YouTube screen, it's about 2 inches by 2 inches. She's got 2 different words of the day written down. that she says these are good ones.
Okay, well, can we do one today and one tomorrow?
Let's do one today.
Okay.
Axilla. It's a noun. Axilla.
Axilla. I've seen this word. I don't know what it is. I'll say it means something extra or unnecessary.
Axilla, the cavity beneath the junction of a forelimb and the body, otherwise known as
the armpit.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Your axilla.
Oh, but would that be also used like on insects' bodies and stuff?
Could be.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got 1 out of 2. Thank you.
And the next one, the other one will be tomorrow.
We'll do that one tomorrow. All right, I'm going to go to BP 1-1 Florida and the Oilers after the first period. Thanks to the Coop. Thanks to the glue guy. I'm Reid. See ya.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric.
Jamie McLennan. Skinner has to be better. He's been wildly inconsistent. 71st in goals saved above expectation this year, which is terrible. And to me, if you're going to bring somebody in, you have to bring somebody in who challenges for minutes. I do believe it's somebody like Husso, Vamelka maybe. You're not trading for Vasilevsky or Shesterkin. They're just not available.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric, presented by Southport Chevrolet. Weekday mornings 6 to 9, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
The Canadian Brewhouse wing flavors of the month are going head-to-head. Spicy Dill 2.0 versus Bang Bang Sauce. Head to the Canadian Brewhouse for wing night to cast your vote. Great wings, cold drinks, and an atmosphere you won't forget. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino. Don't miss the internationally recognized tribute, the Alan Jackson Experience, April 18th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Fuge Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at fugesausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Fuge Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.